Okay, so we've got the Fool. He's card number 0 in the Rider-Waite tarot deck, right? And the first thing that I see when I look at him is the guy about to walk off the cliff, and his head's tilted up, and he's looking away at the sky. He's got his little travel bag with him in one hand, a rose in the other, and his little yappy dog lapping at his feet. And when I look at that, I think, the little yappy dog is trying to, like, warn him, hey, dude, you're about to walk off a cliff. And, of course, the dude's not paying any attention. He's just blissfully unaware that he's about to walk off a cliff. And I kind of think that, like, the impression that you get from the card is that his absolute ignorance of the fact that he's about to walk off a cliff is actually protecting him from, suffering from gravity, right?
You think his ignorance has protective value?
I do.
Fortune favors fools, right?
Yeah, fortune favors fools. I mean, we don't know what's off of that cliff. I mean, it could just be a little step down and he just hops off, or it could be a plummet to his dad.
But the point is, he doesn't know because he's not looking.
Yeah.
He seems oblivious to the possible concerns.
Right, and, the majors are always a really big deal in a reading, and so, seeing him about to step off that cliff kind of speaks to me of it being, like, the beginning of some grand adventure that has absolutely no basis or no history that this guy knows of. He has no clue where this journey is going to take him or what it's going to mean or anything like that.
Right, well, most new beginnings are like that. We don't really know where they're going to lead, or what all of the risks are, or where they're going to take us in the end. So we all have that kind of full aspect going on when there's a new beginning in our lives. We don't know everything that's going on, and the people who might be trying to warn us or give us advice don't necessarily know any better than we do.
Yeah, and the impression that I get from the card is that the people that are trying to give us advice, not only are we not able to hear them because we're completely oblivious to it, but their advice, like you said, it may or may not have any basis in reality, but it's coming from a place where they're like, I don't know, kind of like beside us, trying to walk it with us at the same time that it's going on, but in a greatly reduced role, like a pet following its master, or kind of like that, but not the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think something else that kind of stands out in the card is the whole idea of traveling light when you're starting again or starting a new journey.
I hadn't thought of that until you just mentioned it, but it does show just this little tiny travel bag on a stick. And not only is it, a really light looking travel bag, but it's a really efficient way of carrying it.
Yes.
You get that weight balanced across his shoulders, and he's not really carrying much baggage with him. He is carrying a little,
right,
but we all carry our own baggage into our new ventures.
So, do we know how the Fool plays out in the whole story that the Major Arcana tells? Could you maybe talk a little about that?
Well,
the Fool's journey.
Well, the Fool is the beginning of the journey, and we know that he runs through, like, it's the same character represented throughout the entirety of the Major Arcana. So when you move from the Fool to the Magician, not to the musician, but when you move from the Fool to the Magician to the Priestess and Temperance and so forth and so on, that's all the same character playing out the story. And bits and pieces of the story will repeat or recycle, and then eventually he'll come to, that character of the Fool will come to the world and then start again in a new journey as the Fool all over again.
Yeah. I think it's important to remember that we're all the Fool sometimes.
Yeah. Some of us more than others.
It's a universal part of human experience.
Yeah, I was totally the Fool when I went from life in the military to being a truck driver. I mean, there was There was nothing in that experience from life in the military that prepared me really for life as a truck driver.
Right, you had to experience it to know, just like the guy stepping off the cliff here.
Yeah. Now, I see that you want to talk about the meaning of the card reversed.
Yes.
And I don't really like doing reversals in the way that most tarot card readers that I've seen before like doing reversals. To me, the meaning stays basically the same, but it highlights the negative aspects. So if I were looking at the Fool reversed and I was doing a reverse reading or a reading where reverses were optional, right, I would say that in a case like this, his obliviousness is not protecting him from whatever consequences happen as a result of stepping off that cliff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And would you agree with that? I mean, is that how you would interpret a reversal?
Yeah, well, I don't normally read reversals. I usually I think that everything you find in a reversal you find in the card when it's upright. You just go by context to determine what it is. But if I were reading it reversed, it would suggest more of a reckless, heedless, you've been warned but you're acting against it anyway kind of foolishness.
Yeah, and again, it kind of depends on context, too.
Right. It sort of lacks the optimism of the Fool upright and sort of warning you to pay attention to the dog because, suddenly this whole scene is a lot more intimidating when you turn it upside down.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so, I think that about covers it for the Fool.
Yes.